Several years ago, my family took a trip to Hawaii. It was an awesome trip and something I will never forget. One of the things we did on Oahu was to climb to the top of Diamond Head volcano so we could overlook the Pacific Ocean and the city of Honolulu. Now, when we decided to climb Diamond Head, I thought, this is really no big deal. I mean, there was no doubt it was the tallest thing around on the island, but it certainly wasn't like one of the tall peaks on the Rocky Mountains. However, when we started our trek up Diamond Head, I soon realized it was not going to be as easy as I first imagined. The path was extremely steep and seemed to wind around and around forever. And just when you think you're almost done, and you hope you were almost done, you discover there are 100 steps to get up to the bunker, and then you have one last climb to get to the very top. It would have been very easy to have said, this is enough, I can see just fine from here, let's go. But we continued one step at a time until we reached the summit. And when we reached the summit, suddenly it was all worth it. The view was even more spectacular than we had thought. And as I stood there and looked around, I also had a sense of pride that we had not given up but had made it to the top. All of the stress and pain of the tough climb no longer existed. All I saw was beauty. And when you think about it, the journey of life and our journey of faith is a whole lot like this. In many ways, it is pretty easy to decide to be a Christian and begin the journey. Now, it certainly takes courage, and it takes knowledge, and it takes commitment to say, I want to be a follower of Jesus. But many times, we really don't understand all the demands and all the struggles that we may have. In Matthew chapter 8, a man came to Jesus and said, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus looked at him and said, Foxes have holes, birds in the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. In other words, Jesus told him, you may not know what you're committing to. Are you really willing to pay the price? Life is full of problems, with struggles, and with temptations. And it is easy to get discouraged and distracted from our journey. And sometimes we even just give up. But we must not give up. We must continue on our journey. And as we continue to climb, we must always make sure we are on the right path. You don't want to be the man who said he spent his entire life climbing the ladder of success, and then found out the ladder was leaning against the wrong building. When I was about 4 years old, I had an interesting experience in a canoe. I was in Arkansas visiting my cousins, and we decided to go canoeing on the Buffalo River. I was in a canoe with my parents, who turned out to be very bad at canoeing. In fact, our canoe turned over 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I left them and got in a different canoe with my aunt and uncle. You see, I had chosen the wrong canoe. As we walk on our journey through life, we need to be singing the words of the old song, My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' love and righteousness. And we should be bold and confident in our journey. Remember the words of the Apostle Paul when he wrote to the Romans in chapter 1, verse 16. I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. If we will always follow God's commands in the gospel of Jesus, we will successfully complete our journey and make it to the top of the mountain. And just like my family's experience on Diamond Head, it will all be worth it. All of our efforts, all of our struggles, and all of our obedience, will pay off in a big way. Like the Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Timothy 4, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award for me on that day. Our journey of faith and our journey to the top takes a lot of effort, and there will be decisions to make along the way, which means we will have to make good decisions and we will have to never give up. And we can have the same confidence and the same hope that the Apostle Paul had. Because you see, I didn't read the entire verse a minute ago. Paul goes on to say, the reward is not only for me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. Don't you want to see that reward someday? We can. We just have to complete the journey to the top. We must fight the good fight, we must finish the race, and we must keep the faith.